Yes, I am a boy.
I'm not sure. The jury is still out.
Yeah.
Now say that with a lisp.
No, thanks.
Come on, do it. I know you can. What
I can do whatever I
that?
want.
That
I
is
got
an
this
awesome
for my
glass.
40th birthday, which was a few years
Wow,
ago.
it's that old.
Yeah.
30
And
years
it's
old. Wow.
It's all smiley face. It's all emojis.
Oh, that's cool. I like that a lot. Who'd you get it from?
Me too. This was from our friends in Dixon, Tennessee, our really good friends, the ones that own the restaurant.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. I love the emoji thing. That's
Yeah.
I mean, because as soon as I see an emoji with a smiley face, I think of you.
So, well, speaking of, so I'm putting
Yes.
together. We're about to have a training meeting, and I put together I have to present one section.
You
and
get to present, not have to. Get to.
I have no. I was voluntold.
Get to.
I was voluntold. It's okay. I'm going to enjoy it. Don't think that I'm not going to enjoy it. I'm having a lot of fun putting the deck together, and I will have fun with the presentation itself.
Okay.
It's stuff I know from the back of my hand, so it's not going to be difficult. That said, I have been using Bitmojis of myself in the presentation just to amp it up a little bit more because.
And let's be clear, I've seen your Bitmojis for years.
Yes, you have. Yes, I'm proud of my Bitmojis. I love my Bitmojis.
They really are. They're very cool.
I change my outfit depending on the season. Right now, how I was wearing the red vest.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't changed it to a vest, but it's still my blue puffer. So I got blue puffer, khakis, my blue shoes, and my glasses.
Wasn't that your nickname in high school, Blue Puffer?
Blue Puffer? No, no. I had a lot of nicknames. That was not one.
That wasn't one of them.
Okay. No, my last name is Cubic. You can do the math.
I don't think you need math for that.
No, you need what? Alliteration?
Yes, alliteration would be fine. Yes. That's pretty funny. So
it's too early in the morning. I'm drinking my
what do you
my
have?
Pedialyte.
Oh, Pedialyte.
Yeah, no, it's water, but
no.
I did have some Pedialyte this morning.
Did you?
I've actually, so we always went for the super healthy stuff, right? For any sort of athletic drink or something to hydrate you, it has all the vitamins and minerals and blah, blah, blah. And we're always spending a lot of this money. And Whitney moved in and brought her Pedialyte. And I just for fun, because we were out of the other stuff, I had one. I'm like, this tastes much better. And then I looked at all the ingredients, and Pedialyte is actually better for a lot cheaper than some of the other stuff we'd been spending too much money on. So now we do the Pedialyte thing. And
that's awesome.
And I'm really bad. I'm really good when I'm at home about staying hydrated. Like you've seen my water canteen, it's 32 ounces. And I try to drink at minimum 2, if not 3 or 4 every single day when I'm home. But when I travel, I don't do that. So I get super dehydrated. And so I've started carrying those packets with me. So when I get to wherever I'm going, I just pop one of those and I feel much better. It's all about how I feel, not necessarily how hydrated I am. But sometimes in the morning, I just, if I wasn't good about it yesterday, I only had one 32 ounce thing. So this morning I went ahead and had 16 ounces of Pedialyte just to get the ball rolling. And I was still late for our recording. So
that's okay. I got caught up watching a little YouTube. I watched Dana Carvey's first appearance on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
Wow. That would be awesome.
Pretty funny. He kind of killed. It was fun to watch.
Did.
But that's so the whole time and for viewers and listeners, when we get started, we have it's just your face on the screen because you're the only one on camera, obviously, if Nick isn't logged in or I'm not logged in. And then it's a split screen and it does a little noise like that when the other one logs in. So I can hear when he comes in. And but it was fun. So I was listening for that the whole time I'm listening to Dana Carvey. So it was pretty funny.
Well, my excuse was I was making breakfast for Peyton and we were sitting on the couch watching some YouTube. Didn't realize because I got up or I woke up at 6:30. So, it wasn't like I was dilly-dallying or just getting up like last time where I slept through it. No, I was just enjoying my morning, just and then all of a sudden I get a text message and I can even ask Peyton. The very first thing I said, because Jen is at work this morning, is now what does Jen want? Or now what does your mommy want?
Wow.
Joking. I had this big smile on my face, of course. And I
Well,
pull it up and it's John. And I'm like, oh shit.
oh, my other wife.
Yeah. My work wife.
I texted Jen before I texted you.
Yeah.
Where the is he now? And then
Yeah.
she said, I'm at work. This is what happens when I'm working and he's playing. It was sort
So
of like
true.
that. Yeah.
So true.
So the Pedialyte is go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I was going to say,
Well,
the other part of it is I took the rest of the week off next week
oh,
because
nice.
next week is Thanksgiving,
It
or the
is
week that you guys hear this is Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving week.
And
Happy
yeah,
Thanksgiving, everybody.
happy
We're 2
Thanksgiving.
days in advance of Thanksgiving.
Well, for when this airs, but we're a few more days than that. But anyway,
Which is all anybody knows. Yes.
so I took the week off and I'm
Nice.
already in vacation mode. So
Excellent. You've got the comfy sweatshirt on. That's
yep.
good. That
Even
does
though I'm
help.
trying to hide the name because I don't want them to sue us for
No, you because they would too. That would be
yeah.
the first thing they do. The so the Pedialyte, and I'm familiar with it only because of our son. When he was a kid, he always had some around just
Yeah.
in case he got sick or something
Sure.
like that. I've never tried it. I've never had any of it. I think what cued me to the fact that you were drinking Pedialyte, besides you telling me, is the fact that you seem to like strained carrots lately too, and that's a little odd.
Strained carrots.
Baby food.
I've never heard it said strained carrots. That's
You've
new
never
one for
eaten
me.
strained carrots?
Well, I probably have
Oh,
when I
okay.
was a baby.
Well, exactly. Which
I
goes
had
hand in hand with
Brussels
Pedialyte.
sprouts this morning. Does that count?
What does pedia mean?
That's kids.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Kids,
I know so many adults
electrolytes.
that take it. Yeah.
Electrolytes. Well, now, yeah, because you're
Yeah.
trying
I
to
mean,
start a
they
trend.
definitely market and make it for adults.
Do
They
they?
do.
You
Oh
know
yeah.
why? Because it
Because
triples their market place.
absolutely. Absolutely.
I think
And
it's
so
brilliant.
Whitney came about it because of COVID. She had COVID and she said that was the one thing that kept her symptoms at bay. And this was before vaccination.
Interesting.
So yeah, so that's why and when Jen got her case of COVID,
Mhm.
she just was pounding that. And she, like I told you, she thought she was hungover, even though she hadn't had anything to drink. And that's when
Mhm.
she went and got tested. And
Right.
after that, she just pounded that and she felt fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. That would be that would be a good thing for
Yeah. And
people to
I,
try.
yeah. And back to what I was saying before, it's not like
Yeah.
we didn't use sports drink stuff.
Mhm.
We never went to Gatorade. Gatorade has way too much sugar.
Well, but they have Gatorade Zero, which is ding, which
It's
is
different, dude.
it
It's
is a
not
little
that
different.
different.
So is Diet
It doesn't
Coke.
have real sugar. It has saccharin or whatever that other aspartame,
Tame. Yeah.
aspartame, the ones that
Well,
give
I buy
rat
the
give the
aspartame.
rats.
It's by a friend of mine. Friend of
Oh,
mine
good,
made it. Yeah,
good.
a little
It's the
different.
knockoff version. I
It
understand.
is.
Probably made in the same facility. It's just the packaging.
It might be. And well, Tom just puts it in his pocket on the way home from work.
Speaking of, we
Silly.
need to have a real
Yes.
conversation about next year soon
Okay.
off the podcast. But the other thing is, I found something on Instagram, my other favorite place,
Yes.
that you can have you can brand your own coffee.
Really?
So what I would like our listener viewers to let us know if you think we should brand our own coffee and sell it.
Okay, so I have a very good friend who is
You
a
have a
roaster.
friend?
Don't
Oh,
start
really?
with me. Who is a roaster.
Interesting.
And he could do the branding and his coffee is delicious. What's nice is he roasts it, and this is when we lived in Wisconsin, right at his house.
Mm.
And so I'll say, Mike, can I get a couple of pounds of X, whatever one? And he said, absolutely. I'm roasting some this afternoon. Come on over after 3. And I come by the house and you get this, and it's not.
Oh, nice.
You think that roasting coffee is I thought that there's going to be this delicious smell. It's a little burny.
Is it?
A little bit.
Interesting.
But he said, wait 2 days after it's freshly roasted, and then you're going to love it. And so I had no idea about any of that, but he was right. Oh my gosh.
Really?
It is so good. When it's
I did find
roasted. Well, not if it's been sitting in a coffee can for,
right.
10 weeks, which is a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, and so I was going down that rabbit hole and also found a company that will sell you the green coffee beans.
Oh, okay. So you
can roast them yourself.
Yeah.
But so anyway, listeners, if you think you would buy
That
a
sounds like a
PoddiMouths,
lot of work.
potty roast, ooh, a potty roast.
Oh, ooh, potty roast. Okay, there's your entry.
Yep.
And we should talk about that because I think we need to give a prize for the winning entry if we decide to do it.
Yep.
So
So
potty roast
two
is
things.
yours.
One, tell us if you want us to do that.
Okay.
Two, if you do, come up with a few names for us to market it as.
Here's my entry: potty dust.
Okay, potty roast is the light roast. Potty dust is the dark roast.
Okay, perfect. Works for me.
I like it. I like it a lot. This will be fun. This is
gosh.
how we're gonna support this podcast moving forward.
This terrible
2022.
habit. This terrible
terrible
habit that
habit.
we've developed.
Yes. Well, we're obviously not very good at being addicted to it because we both kind of got lost in our YouTube this morning and forgot about the podcast. But hey,
I didn't forget. I was sitting here waiting for said co-podcaster.
Whopping 7 minutes.
Whatever. It was 7 minutes when I could have been drinking Pedialyte or having some strained carrots.
Yeah, I haven't had my coffee yet this morning. Have you had any coffee?
Explanatory. Yeah. In fact, this is another. Let's talk about a negative outcome from a YouTube video.
Okay.
Watch the cooking. I like the cooking ones. It's just kind of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Some of them are boring.
Baking
some
with
of them,
Babish.
I have something on my. There it goes.
Do you like Babish? Baking with Babish.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Oh, you should
I like
look that
Sam
one
the
up.
Cooking Guy.
Okay.
There are several. Meat Church. Have you seen that?
I've seen that one. Yeah.
They're awesome, and we're just as an aside, we are smoking our turkey breast this Thanksgiving.
Nice.
So I'm putting it in the smoker, and they had great directions for how to do that. Anyway, so I'm watching this YouTube video about healthy pancakes, and they didn't really say it because it's actually German. The video, so
Okay.
it's like Frühstückessen or something like that. So it's German, and it's very simple: a banana and 2 eggs, and you mix it. I used our awesome blender.
Okay. So my only question is, why have eggs in there if you've got bananas? Because bananas make an egg replacer.
They can for certain recipes. Not the point.
Okay. All right.
So
go on.
Blend it and then pour them as pancakes. And
no flour?
None. Just
Really?
bananas and just eggs. So here's what I learned. Don't have the pan too hot because it will burn the heck out of them. That's one.
Yeah.
The other one is treat them not like pancakes, but treat them like scrambled eggs.
Okay.
So I actually doubled it. I did 2 bananas and 4 eggs.
Okay.
And so the next time I do it, I'm going to just treat them like scrambled eggs. And they were, even though they got a little burny, they were delicious.
Okay.
But the pancake thing was terrible because you get it and it'd burn on the bottom. And you try to flip and it's all soupy and cut it out. And so truly, yeah, if you put in flour or whatever, but that makes it less healthy. So
right.
Again, I would turn it into a scramble. The bananas were delicious. I sprinkled a little cinnamon on and topped mine, get this, with plain yogurt. It was
yummy.
Excellent.
I bet.
And no sugar.
Interesting. So not that this is not necessarily healthy or anything, but I had never actually made from scratch hash browns.
Oh, okay.
So a couple of weeks ago, I looked up a recipe to see how, and it was pretty easy, and I did it, and it wasn't bad. I mean, they tasted good, but it didn't turn out as well. You know how you brown it on both sides? One side wasn't as brown as the other side and stuff like it still tasted good. And I'm like, because this recipe, and guys, this is how simple it is. You peel the potato, you grate the potato, you squeeze all the water out of the potato, you put it in a pan with oil because you're basically frying.
Sure. That's it.
And that's it. That's basically it. Right.
Okay.
So I was cooking today and I wasn't thinking. I was just, because once I do a recipe, I usually don't have to look it up again. I just do it. But instead of putting oil in the pan, I threw a whole bunch of butter. And I'm like, oh crap, I'm not supposed to put butter. I'm supposed to put, screw it. I put more butter. Yeah, that's right. And then I did
awesome.
the hash browns this morning and I'm like, That smells really good. Put a little butter on top because the last time, obviously you flipped and it didn't brown correctly. Did that, flipped it, was a perfect brown on that side. I'm like,
Nice.
nice,
Look what
nice.
I've done.
I've done a thing. I hope people watch
Jeremy Clarkson,
Jeremy
Clarkson's
Clarkson's
Farm.
Farm or
I miss it.
Grand Tour. Me too.
Coming out.
They're talking about it.
Yeah. Well, I think they're filming it. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
But
they are. They
that's
are.
the okay.
Yeah, you
Awesome.
still get if you follow Jeremy, he posts stuff all the time.
Oh, awesome. I
Anyway,
need to do that.
it came out. I looked at the bottom, perfect. I mean, perfect on both sides. I'm like, that's how you do it. No freaking oil. It's all butter.
Butter. And it was
Butter,
awesome.
butter. Oh my God, it was so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I almost didn't let Peyton eat her breakfast because I was going to eat it.
honey,
That was for her, by the way.
Let me just try this one more, just one more bite to make sure it's safe for you.
Yeah, my breakfast didn't look as good because it was Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and eggs. That was my breakfast.
Again, here's Mr. Healthy.
I wouldn't call that healthy. Speaking
Brussels
of,
sprouts, broccoli, and eggs. It's very healthy.
So, we talk about that all the time and how food goes back and forth. One of the first things I saw this morning when I wake up, I tend to look at some news stories, nothing that's going to piss me off. So I avoid those, but
good luck with that.
I know, right? One of the news stories came up and again, eggs are bad for you again.
Seriously?
Yep. They cause Alzheimer's.
Yeah. So here's what I know. They use science to prove so many things that aren't true.
Right.
Science is really it's a practice. It's much like as a physician, you're in a practice. It's not,
Yep.
I have perfection because there is all this science. It's not that. You can't define outcomes based on what you think works, or, well, this obviously proved this, because it can be, as we've learned over the years, can be completely different in fact. And
Yep.
so the whole egg thing, my dad had high cholesterol, and we're talking about in the 1970s, early 70s. And they didn't know it. So he was on vitamin E, and you can't have eggs, and you have to have margarine,
Yep.
not butter, because we know how good margarine is for us, and all of this stuff. And remember the food pyramid?
Yep.
What was the biggest thing? It's carbs. It's carb loaded with white, flour and bread and all that stuff. And you want to really stay away from meat. And when in reality we find, or what evidence points us to now, is that it's been upside down for all these years.
Yeah.
Proteins.
Yeah, it's so critical. Yeah, and it's crazy because one thing that I am I don't want to say researching, and I think we have talked about this before, but I really, and Joe Rogan talks about this all the time too. One time that I feel the best is when supposedly you're in ketosis. Based on the ketogenic diet.
Yep.
And what basically, in my understanding of it is that's one of the reasons I do intermittent fasting, is if you don't eat for a certain period of time, your brain chemistry your whole body chemistry kind of switches.
Usually it's like 16 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I don't know exactly all of the science behind it, but the one thing I do know is my mind is much clearer at that point. And
how you feel, I think, is the best defining factor of really anything. So I've been trying to dump some weight, and so, well, for many years, but I'm actually trying this time. So I joined the gym. I think I told you that.
Yep.
And I'm working out 4 times a week now: Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and take the weekend off. And because you want it to be a lifestyle where you force yourself to get up and go, but I don't want it to be stupid where I'm sore all the time and uncomfortable. Right. And so you got to have, especially at my advanced age, 40,
super advanced.
I don't want to.
You need an emoji cup.
I do. It'd be, I gotta fit the cane on there, the hurricane thing. Anyway, but I think we've learned that stuff like that is, and there's an argument to be made. Again, YouTube videos up the yin yang by physicians who will tell you that fasting for 40 plus hours is actually very good, very cleansing for you. Yeah. And having tried it, I think I did 44 hours was my record, and it's not as bad as you think it's going to be, but it really has to for those who say I can't do intermittent fasting, I can't go 16 hours. Well, it's really not that tough when you're in the right
No.
mindset for
Right.
it.
Well, and I can understand, so like Jen can't. She
Okay,
like she gets sick if she goes. She's got to eat every few hours, and even
sure,
if it's just a handful of nuts, she just has to have some.
sure,
Otherwise, she gets sick. So I understand that. I'm the opposite. I shouldn't eat that much.
yeah,
I like
and
that
same for me.
intermittent. I need to, because if I, on the weekends, I'd like any workout. I take a break. I had
Yeah,
breakfast this morning.
mhm,
Normally, I don't have breakfast, and I'm already feeling it. I feel. Ugh. How that said, one of the things that I he Joe Rogan had someone talking about this on his podcast at one
mhm,
point, talking about the different foods that you should eat. So I that was something that interested me because of the weekend,
mhm.
because I still would like to get there, but I do enjoy the time where I get to sit and
Heck
have
yeah.
breakfast with Peyton
Well,
and
there's
stuff
a
like that.
social piece to it, yeah,
Yeah,
that we can't diminish.
exactly. The number one
Mhm.
thing you can eat, eggs.
Yeah, yeah.
For ketosis and for the ketogenic diet, eggs is
Yep.
the number one thing you can eat.
Absolutely, it is. And there's a very famous physician I follow on YouTube. I can't think of his name now, but so I guess he's not that famous, but more than I am. He says he eats 4 or 5 eggs every day,
Oh,
every
geez, I
single
couldn't go
day,
that far. I do
every
too.
day. But he does intermittent fasting. And
Mhm.
so he gets out of it, breaks his fast. And sometimes he says, sometimes I go 17, 18 hours. It's just, whatever I feel like or whatever my day is going like.
Yeah,
And he starts with eggs, 4 or 5 of them every single day.
yeah,
And some bodybuilders would, because they got to get to a protein number, would often do a dozen a day.
yep.
And so whatever. I'm not promoting any of that other than
No,
to say, as you did, you kind of have to go by what makes you feel better. And
exactly.
I don't, Lisa and I have kind of been getting on the scale. She's done a great job with delicious food at night when we. So
Mhm.
I will typically go to the gym, come back, have some oatmeal with protein powder and nuts or crunchy peanut butter or something like that,
Yeah,
and that keeps me till dinner. Other than maybe like Jen, a handful of walnuts or something like that in the middle of the afternoon. Other than that, that's fine. And then she makes these healthy meals for dinner, which has been great, and
yeah.
it's certainly helped me lose a little weight. But the number on the scale is it's not as impressive. When I was on the Atkins diet like 25 years ago,
Mhm.
I lost 15 pounds in a week.
Yeah,
And it's like this, and it's for us, it's like immediate gratification. You go, yes, this is really working, and it makes you stick with it. So I'm going much more slowly, but in hopes now that it will
yeah.
actually work, and I'm
Well, if you go
supporting it with
slow,
that.
it tends to stay.
It does, and that's just it. So I lost 40 pounds on Atkins, and then eventually over time gained back 50, and
Yep.
the so that's how it goes.
I call that the St. Louis diet.
It is that because of the arch?
No, every time I move back to St. Louis, which I've
Oh.
done twice now, I gain 45, 50
You know
pounds.
why it is?
No,
It's the
I'm not
ravioli,
eating
the
enough
toasted
eggs.
ravioli.
Oh, could be
Oh,
that. I was thinking the beer
love
and the
those.
pizza, but
Yeah, maybe, but it's toasted ravioli. I
emos,
love that
imos, who
stuff.
knows?
Maybe. So anyway, yeah, I think it's what works for you. Happily, I'm up 2 loops on my belt. So
Good for you.
yeah, but I have what? It's a bunch to lose, and it didn't happen overnight. So you got to be patient and you got to go long game, because if you don't,
So,
you're going to be disappointed.
so let's talk about that though, because here's me being a cheap ass.
You don't
The
wear belts?
biggest no, oh, I do. No, that's
Okay.
the belt's not the problem. I have to now, especially. I'm
Yes.
such a cheap ass that I'm almost considering putting all my weight back on so I don't have to get or resize my suits because they're all too big on me now.
You can do that if you're going to keep it off. And
I'm going to keep it off.
well,
I've kept
that's
it off
good.
now for over a year.
Yes, you have learned, and I will say very well, since I've known you, to modify your intake.
Mhm.
And you've done it very effectively by changing your portion sizes and things like that. It's tougher for me because even a small portion of ice cream tends to put weight on me. Um, but I mean, I think you've learned to do that very well. So you could get away with doing that, or some
Yeah,
of
but I
them.
still don't want to resize my I don't want to buy new suits.
Well,
I
don't
spent the money already.
have them resized, or
That still costs money.
do or use use clothespins.
There you go. Well, that's why I keep the belts
Just tighten them in. Yeah. Yeah, no, these fit perfect. Yeah.
as they're
Um,
walking or they're down around my ankles. Yeah.
I, I think that I used to have back in the day when I used to wear suits, probably 20 suits,
Mhm.
and they were all varying sizes.
Nice.
Where am I today? That's
Yeah.
kind of how it was. And so, me, like you, I was maybe not as cheap, but I was certainly stupid because I was not, I would just buy more suits
Yeah.
knowing that I'd wear them at some point, and oh, I don't want to get up to that level again, way down in
Yeah.
the corner.
Yeah.
And by the time I wear
Well,
them again, they're out of style.
yeah.
Super.
That's the other I
Yeah.
do have another suit that actually would fit because it came from my wedding and I'm still a little bit smaller than I was then, but not
Mhm.
much. And that one
Yeah.
technically fits, but it's it's 15 years old. So
Yes.
it's
Well, it doesn't mean it's automatically out of style. The
well,
ones
it
that
looks
are
more like a tuxedo than it looks like
oh,
a
okay.
suit,
Well, I
even though
had
it was a suit back then.
sure. I had 30 have the flashy pads.
No,
The
no, no. It's just a little bit
okay.
long.
Oh, okay.
And
All right.
yeah.
And I always liked that look when they had a special at a place called Stewart's in Chicago, downtown
Hmm.
Chicago,
Yeah.
and Stewart's had a 3 suits, and they were high-end suits for $1,000, and this was
That's
back
that's a good deal.
well, because mostly their suits were close to $1,000 each. And
Right.
if you've never tried on, and this is back in the suit days, tried on $1,000 suit, you sort of get it when you do. You go, oh, this
Yeah, oh,
is.
yeah.
You mean the J.C. Penney reversible pants aren't
I
the
love
same?
those.
Yeah,
Hey,
they're
no,
very
I
nice.
have to say one of my favorite suits came from Target. So I
Oh,
understand what you're saying. I
very
have
nice.
worn one of those $1,000 suits and it is
Yeah.
definitely
Oh my gosh,
yeah, you
you
feel good,
notice
you
it.
look good,
Yes,
it's $1,000 suit.
that's very well said.
But
That's exactly what it is.
Target's
But
suit is still my favorite for $69.
that's but you don't tell people, hey, guess what I paid for this?
Yeah. I do. One of my
Don't.
favorite I get emails from him all the time. It's Alan Dupettit. Hold on, see if I can find it.
Okay.
Um where'd it go? Elaine Dupettit.
Oh,
49 to
Elaine Allen,
$59.
whatever.
Yeah. 49
Oh,
to $59 navy two-piece suit and three-piece suit sale. So
hmm.
you can order the suit and then you get it sized when it gets here.
Well, I've bought like that before.
Hmm.
The trouble with the really expensive ones, like these Stewart ones, they had back then, 30 years ago, the big shoulder pads.
Yeah.
And of course, I was a 33-inch waist back then. So it says, V, whoa, look at
Yeah.
this. And yeah, today, shoulder pads really don't fly anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, the suit I couldn't fit it over my arm, probably, much less
It's
on
because
my
you're so buff. You've
torso.
been going to
Let's
the
say
gym.
that's what it
Yeah.
is, that I'm
Yeah.
so buff. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
But the gym stuff comes back, which is good to be able to say it's the first few times and they're dying on the elliptical,
Hmm.
dying.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, look at the age group that you're working with.
yeah, well, I will say, I told you this. I will say that going there, it makes me feel young because they're in a Florida gym. You have a whole bunch of people who are, and I hope I am at 80 years old
Hmm.
working out in the
It's not
gym.
too many years away.
It's many, many years away. And yeah, so anyway, but it's coming back, and it's nice to be
Good.
able to. I'm starting to lift a little heavier. Got to be careful because the last thing you want to do is hurt yourself. So I
Right.
don't go stupid heavy.
Well,
And
I think we talked about that in the last
yep,
episode, not the last episode, but a couple episodes ago,
yeah,
where one of my biggest fears talking about lifting heavy of going back to the gym is not that I ever really went, but I did once in a while. It's just that fear of hurting myself again.
it's going back to the
Yeah.
gym for the first time.
Yeah, for the first time ever. No, you know what I have to do? One thing I really enjoyed doing, two things, two points I want to make. One, I want to find a place that has a pool that I can
Mm,
go to when not many people are there because I
mhm.
love swimming. Swimming is probably my favorite workout.
That's awesome.
Um, and it's good for you because it works every part of your body.
Absolutely good for you. Yep.
Second thing, when it comes to working out and gyms and things. I don't like gyms because I would rather go and do something like I'd rather play hockey than go to a gym.
Sure.
You know, at least I'm working out. I was in the best shape of my life when I was playing hockey. I never
Yeah.
went to the gym.
Yeah.
My buddies all went to the gym, but I was still bigger than they were, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Are they in better shape now? Actually, no. I'm still in better shape. But so maybe it's a little bit more
That was the
genetics
burning
than
question for all
that was a
of
burning
us.
question. No, but I enjoy hiking. I enjoy getting out
Yeah.
and doing stuff.
Sure.
Sitting here in my office because I've got some tools. You know, I've got a thing that I can do sit-ups and push-ups on, push-up bar and pull-ups. It's one of
Or a
those things.
floor.
Or yeah. Well, John, I hurt my wrists when I do push-ups on the floor.
Oh, here's what you do then. Knuckles. That's what I
hurt my
doing.
knuckles.
BS. Stop being a whiner.
I'm a
Knuckles.
whiner.
How are you gonna get into a bar fight? Oh, my knuckles. Stop.
Do you know how I avoid bar fights?
Yes.
I don't go into bars.
Yes, that's how.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I've told you this. My friend Matt has the perfect thing to avoid bar fights. When you do go into bars, he carries a mouth guard with him.
That's hilarious.
So someone says, "Hey, you want to take this outside?" He's, "Yeah, sure. Hold on just a second." Put in the mouth guard. Yeah, you know what? I'm good. I think we're fine. I don't know if he's ever done it, but we've laughed about it 100 times.
So let's talk about that because you know we just got done talking about how cheap I am.
Yes.
But when it does come to bars, I don't look for those hole in the wall bars that you could possibly get into a bar fight. I'm looking for the high end, the leather seats, the dark wood, where they're bringing me, you know, very high end Manhattans, and you don't have to worry about it because any kind of fight that happens there is probably going to be a lawyer threatening to sue another lawyer. So that's the worst you're going to have to deal with.
Well, I will say that that those types of bar fights can be terrible too.
Well, they're horrible. I don't. Hey, you're talking about the wallet, but you're not going to have to worry about, you know, clenching your fist at that point.
I think are making things up. I way prefer the bar that you're describing. I wish I could find one around here because I can't. Which is, I'm thinking steakhouse with tablecloths and you know, those, as you said, the heavy leather seating and booths or whatever. And it's tough to find, sadly.
Which is weird because
in certain areas. Yeah,
you'd think
I know. I would think that there's one place that might be like that, but what goes hand in hand with it is the entertainment that is from the probably 40s. And
I don't see any problem with that. Unless they're actually literally from the 40s.
I think they literally are from the 40s. And I think the baked potatoes are too. So anyway, I love those types of bars. That said, I still love the dive bars.
I can't lie. I'm being silly. I do too.
But that's not allowed on this podcast. I thought we agreed that.
Sorry, no silliness.
No more.
It's not the silliness podcast.
This is the straight serious PoddiMouths, brand new.
Yeah,
that's not true. No, that's
not
crap.
it. We'd be forced off the air.
We should be probably anyway.
I'm not going to argue that.
But I do have a mouth guard, so nobody's going to come in here and force us off the air.
That's right.
So
I can make a fist.
That's why you don't get any bar fights.
You got to be careful with that now, though, because this is actually, I guess, from TikTok.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That it's well, say what it is.
It's an abuse thing. If you are in trouble and you're being abused or you're being held against your will, you're supposed to be able to get someone's attention and do. And for those of you who are just listening, I put my thumb inside of my fist.
Yeah, it's like an open hand, thumb inside, and then
Yep.
It's actually the action of doing that all, and it's the closed fist. But and I've seen it, and it was kind of interesting because I saw it maybe a YouTube video. What a shock! Of somebody doing it on a Zoom call. So they were, under the guise of talking about work or friends or, hey, just wanted to catch up and so on. And they did this while they were doing, which is brilliant if it actually happened. But if they're, in an abusive situation, or a child's kidnapped or something like that, it's kind of a neat. Okay, so we've
Yeah,
gone.
it's a great. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah,
I
I do
and
too.
the stories, if they're true, which I'm not
Sure,
saying they're not. I'm just, you always have to have a little bit of skepticism.
for
But
sure.
if the stories they're telling are true, it's phenomenal,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
lives that it has saved has
yeah.
been incredible.
Yeah, it's
I
it's
think it's
sadly it's way more prevalent than.
especially right now.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
ridiculous. So
But to go from that serious note, one thing
yes,
about that is when I'm in deep in thought, I used to get my. I actually had a girlfriend that was very astute about this, and caught me when I was when I'm driving and I'm deep in thought, or if I'm sitting on the couch and I'm deep in thought and I'm really worried about something. I sit with my thumb inside of my hand like that.
okay.
So I just sit there. I don't know I'm doing it. It's just sitting there. So she would always call me out on it and go, "What are you thinking about? What's the matter?" Because she knew it was something serious if I had my thumb in my hand like that. And
And this
I
still,
caught myself doing it even
you
to this
still do
day.
it?
Uh-huh.
Is it? I think I know what it is, and I'd like to welcome you to Dr. John's analysis hour.
Okay. Yeah. No, I
Um,
never sucked my thumb.
well, yeah, it's because it was inside your hand.
Right. It's
If
kind of
you
hard to
brought it
do.
out, you'd start sucking it right away. This is a defense mechanism. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I should am I gonna have to pay you?
That'll be $400.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So it is, but it's funny because so listeners, Bill and others who are listening, and Lisa,
All you
Lisa
listeners,
listens too.
Bill, Lisa.
Yeah. Is all of the two of you. That's fine. Well, I want to assume that,
Oh, don't
50%
forget.
of our audience
Hey,
are
no,
just listeners.
I talked to a friend of mine who he's at a dealership in somewhere in Indiana. I won't say where, but hey, Justin, how you doing?
Hey,
Um,
Justin.
Justin listens. He called me the other day to tell me about the episode he was listening to.
Oh,
So
awesome. Very
yeah,
cool.
so there's 3.
Well, if you if you're not a viewer, and actually I think I wouldn't be a viewer either, because our faces, have you seen our faces lately?
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, I would stay
Um,
away from it.
Nick did this is why I avoid bar fights. He has his fist like this. Get back. And that's a Matt
That's
joke,
not
which
what I
he'll
was
get
doing.
to.
It was
Oh, but
just
it was
I
pretty
could
close to
you
that.
punch. I don't remember. I had to teach someone not to punch like that. They had a good punch, but they would stick their thumb in their fist. You can't punch like that.
You shouldn't ever you should
No.
never even hold your hand like that unless you're deeply in thought.
Right, exactly. Thank you for adding that, John.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. I'm glad, at least someone supports me.
I do like a push-up bra.
Exactly.
Um,
An over the
so
shoulder boulder holder.
I thought I was the only one that knew that reference. Wait,
No,
Midwest.
exactly.
It's a
Exactly.
Midwest
Well,
thing.
I also am a fairly big fan of Bette Midler. So
Bette Midler, did she say that? Did she
she
coin
did.
that?
I don't think she coined it,
But
but
she
she
stole it,
definitely
like we
said it.
just did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I like
Because
it.
it was it in Beaches, or it was
Oh,
either in
maybe it was.
Beaches or For the Boys. It was one of
Okay.
those
Okay.
where she said that.
Oh, TSBH.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You do that so well. I can't
So
do
yeah,
that.
bar fights. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
my
bar
only
fights.
talent.
Bar fights, Bette Midler. I mean, come on.
Bar fight. Honestly, there are your lines right from the start.
I would
Bar
not
fight,
fight Bette
Bette
Midler in a
Midler.
bar fight. She would
Uh,
crush it.
as long as she
And me.
leave it alone.
Yeah.
There are certain situations in which I would take Bette Midler in a bar fight.
I wouldn't
But
blame you.
other situations where I would not. Yeah, do I want her on my side in a bar fight? I don't know.
Oh, I do. I would.
It depends on how trimmed her nails are. Anyway, yes, it's the bar fight fist thing. It's really not about it. This is way more effective in a bar fight.
Yes,
This
it
is
is.
way more effective,
Yeah.
and it's holding up my hands, listeners, because it's kind of an interesting thing. We went through a training thing at our church in Wisconsin, and it was
Because at a church in Wisconsin, you have to learn to bar fight.
as you might be surprised. If you ever been to a wedding in a church in Wisconsin, you know.
I have actually.
Yeah, of course you have. Yeah,
That's a whole
you
other
got to
story
know how
that's
to do that.
definitely not appropriate for this podcast.
But we
And
had
there are
cops.
very few things that are inappropriate for this podcast.
That's true. Well, when did we start that list? We had cops, we had deputies, and officers who were from the entire area, probably 6 or 7 officers who came in and actually taught us how to react to a threat, which is sadly a real threat in churches these
Oh
days.
yeah. Yeah.
And you
There's
kind of
one
have to, you
recently
just
in
have to
Nashville.
be mindful. Yeah, exactly. You have to be mindful of that stuff. But anyway, the best way they said to handle it, and they had, I mean, they're firing off rounds out in the parking lot. I mean, dummy rounds, obviously, but so you could hear what it sounded like, and wow, it kind of gets your attention. And then anyway, just moving people out of the sanctuary and how to do it, and yeah, I sort of own that piece of it. So that was one of the deputies is like, okay. He's purposely being obnoxious, and I'm like, hey, come on, let's just move it outside. And I'm pushing him, and before he knows it, he's out the door. He's, what just happened? So, well, you told me to. It was
That's
pretty
hilarious.
funny, but that's a good way to do it. That's how you get
Yeah.
people moving on. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's your bar fight. Hey, welcome to Bar Fight Tips.
That's,
That's your bar fight tip for the week.
yeah.
Nick, back to you.
Well, thanks, John. In today's news, the weather's shitty. No.
Oh, not here.
Actually,
It's
no,
not.
no, it's beautiful here. It's 39 degrees and sunny.
39 and sunny.
My
This
kind
is
of weather.
your kind of weather. It absolutely is.
Right.
And what's the high today going to be in Nashville?
59.
Oh, okay. And today in beautiful Port Charlotte, Florida, it is 78 degrees and partly
hot.
sunny.
Too hot.
Partly sunny. Yeah,
Too
that's
hot.
what I'll say is we're breezing on the bike.
Yeah, too hot.
Taking the Harley out.
It's really bad for flying. Cold weather is better for flying.
It is. That's true. It's also better for auto racing because it's an
Yes.
engine thing. Now, if you have an electric engine, or maybe, I don't know, maybe you have a windmill powered airplane or solar, it doesn't really matter.
No. Well, and you know, the electric airplanes only fly for about an hour.
That's right. And well, it's the rubber band thing that gets,
Yeah,
that's the problem.
if you
Propulsion.
get someone in the back winding consistently, you'll be fine.
Hey, I will say I've enjoyed watching YouTube. Shock.
No.
The Tesla Plaid
Oh yeah.
races. Oh my gosh. It is so awesome
I think
to
you
see.
mentioned that to me before.
Oh my gosh. It's just watch the drag races and you have these amazing cars. I mean, a 10-second quarter-mile car is A, extraordinarily expensive to create, and B, just to keep them running, and it's expensive and all of that. Not that the Plaid isn't. It's $129,000, I believe. It blows the doors off almost every car it comes up against. It's just and some will go off the line with it, and these are cars that are dragsters essentially, and they're lifting the front wheels off a foot or more, and Tesla stays down. And even though they might get a jump, you watch this guy's camera. It's the Plaid channel. It's called. It's worthy of a look, and you can see they're even, and then suddenly they're just gone. It's like, the guy in the other car probably stopped to check and see if the car died because he was standing still. Amazing. Fun to watch.
What is it? What is it called? Plaid what?
The Tesla Plaid channel. I'm not sure it's even Tesla, but it's the Plaid, Plaid channel.
I'll look it up. I'm writing.
Yeah, pretty cool car. Fun to watch that stuff. I don't do it too long, but I will watch. And this guy's a pro.
You don't do it too long.
Okay, well, hours, but still. But the guy who does it, Andrew, is it's a great channel. He's a pro, and he's been a dragster for many years, so it's kind of funny. They call it a golf cart. Oh, did you get beat by the golf cart? Pretty funny.
Tuned twin turbos, Audi R8 V10 versus Plaid.
Yeah,
quarter mile, 150 miles an hour.
That would be a good one. Well, if it's 150 miles an hour, yeah, it could be either one of them.
Interesting.
That would be a good one to watch. So check it out.
I've subscribed. Subscribe
for you.
Speaking of subscribing, everyone, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel? You don't have to watch, just subscribe to it. You put it on in the background and it'd be like a podcast. Isn't that amazing how that works?
It would be very similar to a podcast. You know what?
Yeah.
You could also watch it on YouTube and then close your eyes. Put on one of those sleep masks
Oh,
and
there you
then
go.
listen to our cool voices, our
So
calming.
speaking of, so
Yeah,
you know how we talk about travel, and we're fairly accomplished travelers when it
I
comes
would
to
say.
at least domestic travel.
Sure.
I think there are some people that definitely outdo us on the international, but
International
that's a
side.
different
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Because I will say this: there is a difference in how you travel when you do
Big time.
international versus
Big time.
because
Yep.
business, the difference between business travel and travel for pleasure as well is also
Yeah.
a big change. However, that said, the one person I saw this one person and it made perfect sense. It's not something you think about very often because you never put yourself in that situation, but you want to know who the best traveler is? A flight attendant. I sat next to one
Mm.
the other day. She was across the aisle. She got in. She took her bag out. She pulled out her blanket. She pulled out her eye thing, and I mean, it's just like, damn.
Yeah, how well do you sleep
She's
on
ready for this.
how well do you sleep on planes?
Oh, I sleep really well. I try to
Do
avoid
you
it as
see,
much
I
as I
don't.
can because I don't
I
like to
do not.
snore.
Yeah.
Really? Oh man, I grew
I
up in an
don't.
airplane, so
Yeah.
I get on one of those. They start up the engine, and I'm like,
Well, I'm not nervous. I don't care. I mean, it's just I just don't sleep well, but mainly because
I
it's
don't
small
sleep.
and it's,
I don't sleep comfortably, but
yeah.
I sleep well. Like I will be out if I'm not purposely doing something that will keep me
Yep.
awake. I will be out like that.
Yeah. I did the flight to Australia and it was
Mhm.
we had a tailwind and it was still 15 hours. And seriously,
I
each
believe
way.
you.
And
It's a long flight.
oh my goodness. And but I was lucky enough to have been able to, and I had to pay for it, but bumped up to business class. So I had
Mhm.
a lie flat bed and all of that. So it was very, very nice, and what you would normally consider first class accommodations. And I still didn't sleep. I watched like 7 movies each
Really?
way, and yeah, and I slept maybe an hour and a half the whole time in
Yeah.
each direction. But
I
that's
again,
I just
I would
don't sleep
probably
well.
do that as well because I think I would try to avoid sleeping simply because
Yeah.
as I have aged, I have started to
Mhm.
snore more. And I think it's hilarious when I listen to people on the airplane fall asleep and snore. I don't want to be the one being laughed at.
Sure. I
So,
always do that. If I do fall asleep, it's a quick nod. Because
mhm,
again, normally I'm not in first class these days.
yeah,
And
it's
so
been
I'm
bad
sitting.
lately.
What's that?
Go on. Good.
Well,
Go on.
I don't know what you were saying.
I
Um,
was going to say it's been pretty bad lately because I just yeah, we'll talk about that in a second.
well, okay. Well, that's fine. 'Cause sometimes we get bumped up to first and sometimes not. But normally I'm in coach, sometimes with legroom if I can, exit row or whatever.
Yep.
And then what happens is I, I will nod off, especially if it's an early morning flight, which I'm notorious for taking. And when I nod off, it's this.
Oh yeah.
And it's the head bouncing.
Yep.
And then it's if I do fall asleep, it's the
Yeah.
snore myself awake, and there's usually a hot girl right next to me.
Of course.
Yeah,
Of
and
course.
sometimes it's my wife, hot girl.
Right.
Sometimes it's someone else.
That's what I assumed you were saying the whole time
Drool.
anyways.
I have drool and
At least
snored
she loves
myself
you enough
awake,
to
and
wipe the drool
my
away.
wife does, but usually not the lady next to me if she's not my wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it does not. She'll look and it's that face.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Well, what I was gonna say with the flights
Yeah.
lately, they've just been so busy, and I actually read something on one of the news agencies that said, they expect the Thanksgiving travel to exceed pre-pandemic travel on airlines.
I find
But
that hard to believe, but maybe.
I
Yeah.
don't because you and
Yeah.
I have status on enough airlines.
Sure.
My United is my big one. That's where I
Sure.
have the most status, but I do have some status on American, and I flew American last week, actually this week.
Mhm.
Um, and my status didn't account for jack. Like I tried
No.
to upgrade my seat to get an aisle because I do the same thing you. I don't always get the ability to go into first class. I don't always get the ability to go into business class because it's usually full. There are fewer
Mhm.
seats, but I at least have enough status where I can get to an aisle exit row where I have
Yes.
more leg room.
Yes.
I barely got an aisle seat
Wow.
in the back of the airplane.
Yeah.
Everything else was full. The only thing they had open were middle seats, and none of them were anywhere comfortable. So you'd
Yeah.
be, like a sardine.
Oh, I
And it was
hate that.
bad. And,
Just
I
can't do
looked
that
at
stuff.
multiple flights too, and it was all like that. I'm like, this never happens. And again, I'm gonna be an asshole. I
What?
admit that
We're
right
not
away.
used to that.
Dude, I have frickin' status and I can't even get a frickin' seat.
So here's the question. How far in advance of your flight were you looking?
Well, it depends. One flight was 2.5 weeks. One flight was 5 days. So I can understand the 5-day one.
Yeah, but not 2.5 weeks. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. That's wow.
Yeah.
I don't miss that part of it. I mean, I think we've become quite adept at our video calls, and we
Yeah.
use Teams now at work, and it's it's really good, and we actually get a lot accomplished. And but I miss the travel part of going somewhere, getting in front of a client, and
Yeah.
actually having the conversation. But the hoops you have to jump through to
Oh,
get
yeah.
there these days.
Well, so you made the perfect point. I don't miss the travel part.
Yeah,
I miss the being there part.
right. Me
The
too.
travel, if I could just, do a
Oh,
Star
Bewitched.
Trek thing and just
Doot, doot,
appear.
doot, doot, doot.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be perfectly happy.
Yes. Yeah.
But that ain't gonna happen anytime soon. Not in our lifetime anyway.
Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah.
So, where can people find out more about PoddiMouths? Because I'm sure after listening to this or
They want
watching
to.
it,
Yeah.
they're thinking,
Well, they wanna find out where to buy
how
their
can I
coffee,
find out more where to buy their coffee coming up, hopefully, how to
Hopefully.
name the coffee,
how to name
letting
the
us
coffee.
know what
They can
would
do
like to use.
all of that, John, by
Yes.
going to PoddiMouths.com.
Excellent. That's a really good website too.
It
from
is
what
a
I
really good
understand.
website. It's kind of slow. The asshole who built it was not a very good web
Well, he's
developer.
kind of slow too.
He is kind of slow.
Of course, Nick built it because
yeah.
it's a beautiful site. You've done a great job, especially considering
It's beautiful,
the
but it
people you
doesn't
had to work
function
with.
very well. I know.
It does. What
I
are you
do.
trying
I
to
do.
do there?
I think I need to spend some time and redo it soon.
You have nothing but
getting a
time,
little
so
long in
yeah.
the tooth, but that's I will do that once we get a whole bunch of people going to the website. So do your part,
Yes.
people. If you want me to redesign that website, head up to www.poddimouths.com.
Should we just do a quick explanation for our new listeners what the whoa came from?
Well, did we add a fourth?
Well,
I mean, if you think we added a fourth, go for it. Go ahead and explain.
Did I say 4 W's?
No. If we added a fourth listener.
Oh, we may. I'm sorry. Yes, we may have. But
well, no, I'm sorry. You know what? We forgot Mike too.
Oh, so
Mike
we have
listens.
4 plus.
So we have 4. So for our 5th listener.
Whatever. We started. Nick was doing the www.poddy. No, you don't have to do www unless you make it stand for something. And Nick came up, I believe.
No, it wasn't me. It was you.
All right. One of us really brilliant people came up with the whoa because it stands for something.
Does it sound like that would be something I say? Come on. That I would have come up with?
I don't know. You've said it ever since.
I have because I think I didn't say it wasn't a good idea. I just said, do you think I would have come up with that?
Not naturally, no.
No, exactly.
But you're going to take credit one day when it goes viral. And
I won't take I don't take credit for things.
Well, you should though.
Why?
Because
that's a whole other conversation.
It is. But you're the one who has made it famous by constantly doing your whoa.
No. People just they think I'm the sidekick. The guy
they think you're a psychic. You misunderstood.
Oh. Now I understand.
Of course you
know what? I'm going to take this newfound stardom and really I hone my skills as a celebrity and get out there a lot more. Guys, I'm going to improve my signature and you can come and get my autograph. I'm going to autograph all of the coffee.
You hone away, my friend.
Yep. On that note, have a great week. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
On that note, see ya.
That was good.